topic, but the 661 here is on to kind of what Evan brought up before the show.
What'd he say?
Is this the biggest jump in expectation between seasons? You're going from your third string starting quarterback or your third quarterback to him starting, and now it's Super Bowl or bust. In other words, is this really fair to Brock Purdy to expect or to even
Hell
demand?
yes.
Is that fair to Brock Purdy? Because I don't think it is.
Okay, but hold on. The
But
Niners have set a standard before Brock Purdy was on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And the standard was in 2019, young man, we were in the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we went to the NFC Championship game. You signed up for this. We drafted you. So I don't think it's unfair to think the show is supposed to stop because
Not stop.
because
Not
he
stop.
enters the equation. And just to the Texas point, last year was Exhibit A. He was more than okay with it. Yeah, it was short sample size, but he perfected what they asked him to do coming on to relieve Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance. So hell yes, Donnie, this is bigger than Brock Purdy. This thing has been in motion for a while, and I'm going to go with 2019.
So they haven't been able to get it done without Brock Purdy. So now people are demanding they get it done with the guy with less experience than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, I think, and I know you.
I mean, listen,
stickler for words, but now it's just get past the NFC Championship because quietly, Steiny, that's becoming. You're about to be the Buffalo Bills if you were to get there and lose 3 in a row, or the Eagles under Andy Reid. You don't want that to where we're not even getting to the bowl. We're losing at the game before the bowl. This would be 3 losses.
It's okay. I'll just be honest. It's unfair to put a Super Bowl or bust demand on Brock Purdy. It just is.
How do you not? I'm missing something because we just talked about the roster's loaded.
It is loaded.
Offensively,
It is
he's loaded. He's got one of the brilliant minds calling plays.
I'm not saying they're going to stink. What I'm saying is, if Brock, these people who expect the 49ers to win the Super Bowl, you realize that if they win the Super Bowl, they will have done it in a fashion that doesn't happen a lot, if at all.
Yeah, man.
I get it. It doesn't matter where he was drafted. But you're asking a 7th-round pick who's played 8 games total in the NFL to go head out there and lead this team to a Super Bowl in a league of great quarterbacks, in a league of quarterbacks who most of them need a little time to reach their potential.
So would that be?
So what if the Niners have a great year and Purdy blows it for them at the end?
You still feel good.
I
couldn't
would.
put Steiny. I
would,
could
but that's
put,
not a
if
Super
you
Bowl.
say he looks like he did, and let's just say he threw a pick 6 I couldn't come in here and not ignore the right on the table, which is his future. Okay, yeah, he had a blunder, but dude, sign me up for the rest of his career and this Niner team. I mean, that would be you know what I'm saying? There's no book. The book is just all good right now at Brock Purdy. But if he looks like the guy in the regular season, wins a couple more playoff games, and has a blunder, okay, let's go. Let's get him next year. But the 408 on the text line asks, Steiny, what's Kyle's excuse this year?
Kyle doesn't have an excuse.
Well, it sounds like you just gave
Not for
him one.
Kyle.
If the quarterback is so young.
Right, and that's what's incongruous. That's the incongruity that I see, and it's not hate. It's just
it don't fit.
It's just you're okay. It's like you want to win a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy at quarterback. That's going to be hard because he doesn't have a lot of experience. Does it mean he can't do it? Absolutely not.
And doesn't it take a village?
It does, but you better have a good quarterback.
Yeah, well.
You better have a good quarterback.
Well, we think they do. It looks good right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
Chris in Rohnert Park. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Good.
Hey, just real quick.
Yeah.
You keep talking about how this year feels different. This year feels different because Brock is the best quarterback the Niners have had in 20 years. He's going to prove it this year. You want to talk about how much of a quarterback makes a difference? You bet he does. However, Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl in his second year. Big Ben won a Super Bowl in his second year because the rest of that team is stacked with elite talent and future Hall of Famers.
All right.
I've got a girl for the last 10 years. I've turned her into a Niners fan, and she's just absolutely elated for this year.
Chris,
and everybody else should be too.
No, all right, Chris, hold on. I got something to ask you.
Chris,
those two quarterbacks you mentioned who won Super Bowls in their second year, they're both Hall of Famers. Brock a Hall of Famer? Does he have to be a Hall of Famer?
Russell Wilson and Big Ben were not Hall of Famers their second year.
Oh, no, but
Hall of Famers later.
Right, but
they both had a stacked team around them, and that's what Brock has again.
All right, fair enough. And you should be excited about the season.
I mean, man, how can you not?
49ers have been extremely successful since Alex Smith doing things this way. They don't settle at the quarterback position. The Herd has a great segment on it. We might have a different quarterback next year. It's possible.
He would. That would be a nightmare. Like Brock would have to turn into a pumpkin. And I don't see that happening. I believe you are. I say this every damn day. You are a product of your environment, and his environment on the offensive end is it's incredible what he has at his disposal. He'll throw the ball 2 yards in the flat like Montana used to do to Craig, move the chains, and he's got guys that can do it. I just don't see defensive coordinators finding something on film that would just turn this guy upside down and we don't recognize him. Because that's the only scenario, Steiny, they would take a flyer, a Cousins or whomever. This is your guy.
Well, again, it might be their guy. It might be their guy. It might not.
That's amazing.
It might not be their guy. That's all I'm saying. And the point I was making is the two quarterbacks who won in their second year, obviously they weren't Hall of Famers in their second year, but what I'm saying is they won Super Bowls, those two guys on those teams, and they were all by their second year, they were clearly really good because they went on to have great careers, is all I'm saying. So, can Brock Purdy do it in his second year? Absolutely. But he's not likely to do it unless he's a really good quarterback, is all I'm saying. And we'll figure out along the way how good he is. Let's see. Fair expectations, ? As Jim Harbaugh used to tell his staff, if you're not here to believe that we can win a championship, leave now.
Wow. But Steiny, either one of those young quarterbacks
Don Coryell.
You talked about, look at you, one of my favorite coaches, either one of them got Super Bowl MVP. They were like a bus driver. But either one of those young quarterbacks you mentioned that got their teams to the Super Bowl, they weren't Super Bowl MVP. And I'm not saying Brock is not, but I think Brock can do. He almost did it last year, man. The guy got him to the I'm just
so he's gonna play the two hardest games of his career. See that and yes,
now what the two hardest games?
He's gonna have to win so last year, I get it. He won but he would have had to win the NFC Championship, which he didn't do, and he would have had to win the Super Bowl. He still had two more. Yeah. He was going to play the two hardest games of his season last year.
Right, but Steiny, it wasn't 11 Brock Purdy's against the Eagles or whoever they would have played in the Super Bowl. It was just him and him with George Kittle and all the guys that he has at his disposal, man. It's real.
Look at, how did he play against Dallas?
I watched the game 1,000 times. He wasn't Joe Montana, but he wasn't Steve DeBerg.
They can't win if that's kind of who they are.
He made the biggest play to George Kittle across the middle. Kittle caught it. It was a big play.
No, I know it was a big play.
But Dallas is the Niners on defense. 19.